The study of the Dalai Lama lineage portrait artworks begins with the fifth Dalai Lama, Ngagwang Lobzang Gyatso. So he was 1617 to 1682. The study has two main parts. The first is the pre-incarnations, and the second is the named Dalai Lama incarnations. By medium, there are paintings and sculpture. By context, there are individual works, and then there are sets of works. The majority of extant artworks belong to sets of paintings. There are very few examples of the four early Dalai Lamas. Because remember, this whole concept of the Dalai Lamas only really came about with the fifth Dalai Lama, and it was the third Dalai Lama who took on the Mongolian name of Dalai. Now, the 9th through the 12th Dalai Lamas had relatively short lifespans, and therefore there's really no portraits outside of the standard incarnation lineage sets. So, the whole concept of the Dalai Lamas comes about really from the 17th century. What we do have is we do have an incarnation lineage that is not so important that leads up to the fifth Dalai Lama. Very few artworks. We really only have three currently on the HAR website that predate the 17th century. Now, there will likely more will be found in collections, especially collections in Tibet and Nepal and elsewhere. But what we have to look at is we have to look at really the sets to understand what's going on. In the 18th century, with the 7th Dalai Lama, a set of incarnation lineage paintings were created. And this set only has 13 in it, 13 compositions, 13 historical individuals. Half are pre-incarnations, and the other half are the later, the 1st through 7th. Then, this set was copied many times, and likely turned into block prints as well, and so even more copies could be made. Plus they were made as textiles down in Hangzhou, south of Shanghai, and then sent back to Tibet and distributed in monasteries and temples. So we have a number of sets, different types of sets, but we have one main one, and that one is this Nartang monastery prototype, this copy, the one that was copied many times, and most likely it's actually copied or based on the incarnation painting set for the Panchen Lamas. But more work needs to be done. So we do have some isolated paintings for the Dalai Lamas. Really, it's only the 5th, the 7th, and then the 8th, and then there are some for the 13th, because we have these 4 Dalai Lamas who didn't live very long, and then we have the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, who were not really that famous at the time, so there wasn't a lot of art created for them, or their life stories recorded in painting as much. And remember that also the 4th Dalai Lama died very young. So we're only talking about a small number of Dalai Lamas, but we're talking about something that became institutionalized and very important in the 17th century, and then it was rendered as sets of paintings that were that traveled widely. So this is just a really quick introduction, and in part 2 we'll talk about the different painting sets and look at the different variations, and we'll look at the iconographic differences between the Dalai Lamas.